How are you, sir?
Not very good.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, man. So, Akshay, you can find out how I am from this ever-growing beard.
Why, sir? How, sir?
How means if I'm fine, I shave. I don't shave if I'm having a backache because I can't shave. Neither can I sit and shave, nor can I stand and shave. That is a problem. Okay, I've seen the circular that says that your second semester is commencing from um, it is commencing from 16th, right? Yeah, 16th, right. And your exams will be held for the first and the second semesters together around the end of January. Is that it? I think something like that only. So what this does is it gives me some time to breathe. When I say some time to breathe, I'm saying that it will give me some time to recover from this crippling back pain that I'm going through. So I don't know what else to say. I have a plan. Let's see how today and tomorrow go. Today and tomorrow I will be sorry. Today and tomorrow I'll try and finish Rousseau. And if my health permits, we can have morning and evening classes. Morning and evening classes from Monday onwards, where I'll do the first semester classes in the evening, and I'll do the second semester classes in the morning. The one good outcome from all this is the fact that, you know, it's always a nuisance when from Rousseau instead of going directly to Hegel. We have to go through this utilitarians. The utilitarians actually disrupt the way in which one can teach. So it's a good thing I can teach them in the evening separately, and I can teach Hegel. And let me tell you right in the beginning that Hegel will be blood, toil, tears, whatever else you may think of, you can think of. He's one of the most dense thinkers. And as an introduction to Hegel, we'll have to do the German Enlightenment, which is again another dense thing. We'll have to do a bit of Arthur Schopenhauer, and we'll have to do maybe L.C. Herder, but we definitely have to do Immanuel Kant. There's no running away from Mr. Kant. Or let me put it this way. Yes, sir.
Sir, I have a question, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, do you think this RGV knows about all philosophers, Western philosophers? Do you know he knows all the thinkers, or he only tells all the rubbish about them?
Who?
Ram Gopal Verma.
Why are you even connecting him to philosophers? Hmm?
He tells about Schopenhauer, Nietzsche,
Yeah.
and
What he tells you about them is what you deposit in your toilets. Hmm? That's what it is. That fellow is a big idiot. For some time, I got carried away and engaged with him in a war on Twitter. And then I gave up because I found him to be most shameless. He's absolutely shameless. You can say anything to him and he won't mind. That is because all he wants is the more you react to him, the better he feels. His interest is to keep himself in the news. That's why he is taken to Twitter. If any of you have a Twitter account, you can see my tweets. For that, you'll have to become my followers. And you can see my tweets to Ram Gopal Verma. They are terrible. They are terrible. You can't even imagine how terrible they are. Okay, no civilized human being will use that kind of language that I used on him. Still, he has no shame.
what made you to put these tweets, sir?
I don't like opinionated people. You might not know this, but I know him. I know him quite well. Okay, and the first time I met him, he was trying to talk about Plato. I told him to his face, you don't know what you're talking about, just forget it. No, I told him to his face. Then he looked at me quizzically and he says, what makes you think you know? I said, listening to you, I feel like I'm a Pandit on Plato. So you make me feel like I know Plato because you're so off the mark, rubbish. So please, he's not even a facile fraud. He's an imbecile and a fraud. Okay, so useless fellow he is. If I had my way, I'm not prone to violence at all. If I had my way, I would subject him to Chinese torture. Horrible fellow. And people going, sir, it's so great, you're so great. Sir, to that fellow. Then he's a dirty, rotten scoundrel. That's what he is. What makes it worse is that he's shameless and he knows it. Okay, so let's get on with Rousseau. We are done with the introduction to Romanticism. Okay, we are absolutely done with the introduction to Romanticism and the concerns of Romanticism, which the concerns of Romanticism are the ones that talk about So romanticism as such is a it is concerned with all these things I have written. It sees them all as only when nature is benevolent and when it unleashes its fury, people are going to be people are going to be completely helpless. And it is also against industrial civilization. And it is also against industrial civilization and believed that it was bad for humanity. And so the romanticists called for a return to nature. That is romanticism. I put it out there so that if there's any one of you who feels that if there's any one of you who feels that you have not, you don't remember the link. So to establish the linkages again, I'm doing it. Now, the big question is, what happened here? Yeah. The question then yeah, the question then is, if Rousseau was a romanticist. No. Was Rousseau a romanticist or a romantic? Okay, that is, there are some people who argue that Rousseau is a romantic. Some people argue that he is not a romantic. First, let us pick up the arguments of the people who claim that Rousseau was a romantic or a romanticist. So those who argue that Rousseau was a romanticist or a romantic do so on the grounds that Rousseau did not endorse the rationalist civilization. In fact, as we go through, we will find that he calls it a paradox. He says it generates a paradox of poverty amidst plenty. So he doesn't endorse the rationalist civilization. He does not believe in the greatness of its achievements. So what is Rousseau saying? Rousseau basically says, Rousseau also has a state of nature. And this state of nature in Rousseau is unlike the state of nature in Hobbes and in Locke in two respects. One is the way it is portrayed. That is one, the unlike part. The second one is that while the state of nature in both Rousseau, in both Hobbes and Locke is experimental, it doesn't seem to be the case with Rousseau. When Rousseau is talking about a state of nature, he is talking about something that existed, and he talks about how those who were called savages, barbarians, brutes, because they were not civilized, he attaches this prefix noble. Okay, he is attaching this prefix noble to that savage. He uses savage, but it could very well have been a brute, or it could have been uncivilized. Could have been any of those. But he takes the most, what should I say, demeaning of all the words that were used to describe people who were uncivilized. Savage. No, you say barbarians. Barbarians are not, they don't have to be, they don't have to be savages. If you talk about brutes, they don't have to be savages. Savages are the ones, see, when something is gory, when something is terrible, you'll say the lion or the tiger savaged the villager. It gored the villager. It doesn't even have to be a lion and a tiger. It could be an elephant. You say it gored somebody with its tusks. Or it could be the buffalo, the Indian buffalo being the Gaur, or the African buffalo, the Cape buffalo. They can also gore because they are very muscular, and they have these horns which are huge, and they can gore people or other animals. I don't know. I keep saying this. I should start watching instead of watching all this rubbish on Amazon Fire TV and Netflix and all those. I think I should go back to watching programs on television channels like National Geographic and Discovery, where I used to learn a lot. And then this wonderful idea came to my wife, and now the only thing I see on TV is sports. I should return to my old ways of watching these Discovery Channel and all that. So I really don't know if you've seen it, but the Cape buffalo is so powerful. I've seen a documentary where a Cape buffalo gored a lioness to death. A lioness weighs about some 300 or 250 to 300 kilograms. That's what it would weigh, probably less. But a Cape buffalo weighs 2,000 kilos, 2 tons is what it weighs. And it can easily fight a single lion. If the lion comes as a pride, as a group, then it is difficult for the buffalo to survive. But if it is a one-to-one combat, the buffalo can actually survive. And if it is a face-off between groups of buffalo, a big group of buffalo, and a pride of lions, then usually they steer clear of each other after some initial attempts by the lions to try and do something about breaking up the herd of the Cape buffalo. So you see, therefore, that herbivores are also capable of goring, savaging people or other animals. And of all the words, Rousseau chooses savage. In French, it is noblesse sauvage. So a noble savage, he's savage in the sense that he is not civilized. The human being is not civilized. He's a savage, but he's noble. Okay? This for him is why the savage is noble, because that's why I said he's not looking at a, sorry, he's not looking at an experimental um, state of nature. What he's looking at is something which actually transpired in human history. So he says people lived as social groups. They didn't live a solitary life. That is not what it was in Hobbes. In Hobbes, life was solitary, nasty, brutish, all those things. And it was a war of all against all. In Locke, when he's being cunning, he's saying everything in the state of nature, in the first stage of the state of nature, belongs equally to all individuals. He doesn't talk about society. Okay, he doesn't talk about society. He's talking about everything belonging to individuals. And he is also saying, when you look at the limitations, the spoilage, the sufficiency, is he talking about a group, a social group, or any kind of group? He's not. He's continuing to talk about individuals. He's continuing to talk about individuals. Right? And that's why I gave you that quotation. That, you know, the grass that my horse bit, the turf that my servant cut, and the ore that I have dug out from somewhere in nature is mine by my labor. Look at all these. These are all unattached people. They are not socially bonded. They are not socially bonded. It's always I. The operational term in both Locke and Hobbes is I. It is not we. It is not we. That is something that we have to take into consideration. Okay. So that is why we say those two states of nature never existed. Never existed. And funnily, in Rousseau, he talks about natural man, man in nature, but he doesn't really call it a state of nature. He just calls it the natural life, which precedes the civilized life. So he doesn't really use the term state of nature. In fact, most of the times it is an insertion of half-baked scholars who call what he calls natural society or natural man, all these things which he calls, they're addressing them. I mean, they're meaning the people, addressing them as, or should I say, state of nature is not a thing that Rousseau does himself. So please remember, it's better not to use that particular expression, state of nature, because Rousseau is expecting society right from the beginning. So there are no experiments in him. Even his contract is not experimental. There's nothing experimental in it. I don't want to give away how his contract would function. Before I proceed, can you give me a minute? My back is hurting like hell. I just need to get up once and
Okay, sir.
yeah, just a minute. Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, so the state of nature is not really, we shouldn't be calling it, because it has an experimental meaning to it when it has been used in the context of Hobbes and Locke. In what we have in Rousseau is a natural society, and the savage is not a bad person at all. So he's talking about the times when people lived as hunter-gatherers or as nomadic agriculturalists, and he's also talking about people having clear-cut uh, roles in that natural society. You have the shaman or the medicine man. You have the chief, and these are the two most important people. But interestingly, the shaman could also be a woman. It didn't have to be a man always. You needed to have a certain gift of being able to foresee, to predict things. So it was the shaman or the medicine man or woman medicine man or woman, the shaman was the one who would tell the entire group in which direction to go for a hunt. They didn't arbitrarily go off in one particular direction in order to hunt. They didn't go off. They basically waited for instructions from the medicine man or the woman to tell them which way they should go and where would they find their, what should I say, where would they find their kill if they went in a particular direction, they would probably get the kill. That is and many times, despite the so-called intuitive direction of the shaman, SHAMAN, which the Americans today call shaman, and I don't know, the Americans have to do, it used to be harem, now they call it harem, which even the Turks don't call it a harem, because harem is an English word. It's not a word that has gone from a Turkish or Arabic or Persian into English. So for some reason, these people, these wonderful Americans, call it harem. And so now, after they went for a hunt, if it is a successful hunt, if they killed a large animal, then everybody got bigger portions to eat. Cooking was done by women. Please don't fall for this feminist rubbish that women are being confined to kitchen. Simone de Beauvoir says, from times immemorial, man has appropriated all the roles of, good roles and left out the bad ones to women. It isn't all that. It's all rubbish. Women couldn't go and hunt. They were frail. They were frail. All of them were not well built with musculature like a man had. They were not built to go and, what should I say, go and start hunting. So all that is nonsense. That kind of feminism. Okay. When I teach you feminism, I will also teach you some of the wonderful questions that feminists ask. Because feminism has now become all about body. It is no longer about roles in society, but it is a woman's body and her control over her own body. No, I can do what I want with my body. Now that kind of stuff, those are innocent questions. You'll find some really, really awful questions, and I will tell them to you. Otherwise, you will say that I am somebody who's a male chauvinist elephant, and maybe you'll call me pig only, male chauvinist pig, and I have ideas which are terrible and retrograde. That's what you'll think. So to prevent you from thinking like that, I shall expose you to the worst kind of questions that feminism today asks. Terrible, terrible questions. So anyway, let's save that for feminism. So, so roles are clearly defined. Women looked after the young. They nurtured them. The mother was a mother only when the infant was very small. Once the infant reached, say, the age of 2 or 2.5 years, then all the infants would be grouped together and be taken care of by a group of women. They would be taken care of by a group of women. And therefore, what you see is that they are also not the children. They are usually left to be taken care of by those who are less able-bodied, because the able-bodied also worked in fields. Okay, able-bodied women, younger women, they worked in fields when, see, it's not like nomadic agriculture followed hunter-gatherers. It's not like first they were hunter-gatherers and the next phase is nomadic agriculture. It isn't true. And hunter-gatherer, people think is only animals, which again is not true. While the men went to hunt, some of the able-bodied women went to gather. Hunting and gathering are two different activities. Please remember this. Hunting is actually going and killing an animal. Gathering is going and picking up fruits, ripe fruits that have fallen to the ground, or if they are within reach, plucking them. And they also did the same thing with vegetables. If they were tubers, they had to pull the plant out and get the tuber. And this was done by women. This was done by women, the gathering part of it. And also, when it became nomadic agriculture, we have to emphasize nomadic agriculture because the land didn't belong to anyone. There was no institution of private property, and the land was, as long as it was fertile, people did primitive agriculture. They didn't have sophisticated tools to do agriculture. They did some primitive kind of agriculture in which both men and women participated. And like I said, the less able-bodied would be looking after the children in groups, and some of them would be cooking. So it was a group. There was no comparison of how much did you gather, how much did you kill. If for some reason the pickings, both in terms of hunts and in terms of gathering, if the pickings were a little less on a given day, then everybody ate a little less. If it was a big animal and there were other pickings, those that could be saved for another day would be saved, and people would partake in eating the animal because animal flesh would, they did have ways of preserving it for a day or two. Babeshan, please show yourself. J. Babeshan, I'd like to see your face, please. So this is the natural society where everything was shared. Okay, this is not a state of nature. This is a natural society. And when we move forward, I don't want to give away what is it that I'm going to talk to you about. We are certainly not going to be looking at a social contract, which is anything or anywhere near what was expounded by Hobbes and Locke. Even the social contract is completely different. And it is a social contract which comes into being from a society that is already in place. It's a social contract that is coming from a society that is in place. Okay, not creating a society, not creating a society at all. It's creating something else. That I shall tell you later, not now. So you must understand that he is, when he says noble savage, it is a very loaded uh, concept. It is a loaded concept because it's not some simple designation. He's looking at all these things that I have talked to you about. When there isn't enough food for people, then he would basically, when there is not enough food for people, people would basically uh, cut down on consumption. All of the people in the group, in the social grouping, they would cut down so that everybody gets something to eat. It's not like somebody is getting a lot and somebody is not getting any. So there is a concept of sharing equitably at that. And when it is a larger animal, if somebody had a larger appetite, he could have a little more. If they killed a large animal and there was plenty of it, somebody with a large appetite could have had it. It wasn't like, I killed this animal, therefore it is mine by my labor. Okay? Sometimes in a hunt, it's not necessary that everybody who went for a hunt all together kill the animal. Need not be. It might so happen that one person or two persons may have killed an animal, or two persons might have killed two small animals, like two impala or two antelope. But they didn't say, this is mine by my labor. This is mine by my labor because my energy has gone into killing it. And therefore, this dead animal is an extension of my energy and therefore my private property. No, that is not what you see. So what you find is that Rousseau is talking about a society, a natural society where
Sir,
people, yes, sir.
do you think the tribes that live in forest this day do follow this process, or they left this process of sharing their pigs?
Uh, I have, it's been a little while since I have done field work. Um, but I can share my experience from the past. The tribes who are closest to the natural order or natural society, they did follow what I told you. They did follow that. Okay, and their idea of agriculture was not a big field or anything. You know, small patches of land here and there. That's how they were. I went into the uh, integrated tribal welfare, what is it?
ITDA.
ITDA areas, the tribal development areas. I went into those areas near Bhadrachalam. Um, I've also been near Sri Salem, where the Kondareddis, they don't come out, they don't appear. So you can't interact with them. But the tribals, for example, in Araku Valley, they are no longer tribals. Some of them are made to dress up in their traditional attire and put up a dance for the sake of people coming in buses of AP tourism. For their sake, they put up this thing, but there the tribals are no longer tribals. Some people, I'm told, in the Rampa and the Rampa Chodavaram region and the Gudem region are still in certain kind of backwardness. But I don't know how their sharing is. I've seen the Rajgonds and the Gonds in Adilabad, and those people are not in complete, what should I say, they're not in complete tribal life. Though sadly, most of the reservations have been taken away by the Lambada community, which by definition is a gypsy community, not a scheduled tribe. They are a scheduled tribe only in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. Nowhere else are they a scheduled tribe. In some states like Karnataka, I think, they're backward castes. And in states like Rajasthan, even Maharashtra, they are OC. They themselves draw their lineage to uh, Rana Pratap Singh, and some of them draw their lineage to Prithviraj Chauhan. So if they themselves are doing that, then they are not tribals. So here the reservations have been hogged by the Lambadas or Banjaras, whereas the real tribes, despite not being in a state of tribalism, are not getting tribal reservations because they are late starters. Very, very few people, very few people actually have managed to make it into the reservation system. So I doubt very much if, except perhaps for the Kondaritis, who are still hidden away, I am told. And so we have to assume that they are doing this, living this way of life. But if you want to know, tribals in Assam and some of the tribals in the northeastern region, they have a concept of sharing. They still have a concept of sharing, but it is within their tribes. There's no inter-tribe sharing. The sharing is only between, but most of the northeastern people are only nominally tribal people. They speak better English than us. They have had better access to education. So strictly speaking, they're not tribes at all anymore. But that's the way it is. But if you do go into the Amazon area, that is where you'll find tribals people. And those people are the ones who I would say are, what should I say? Those people are the ones who still live a proper tribal existence and do all these things that we have talked about. And if any of you is interested, there is this amazing film made from the point of view of a tribal. It's called the Emerald Forest. Okay, Emerald. Emerald Forest. And there is a tribe that lives there. And the story is a little boy who's out with his father gets lost in that forest. And he's brought up by the tribal as a tribal boy. And when his father finds him, his father basically tries to take him away. And the boy says, no, I don't believe in that life. I believe in this life. So he makes a choice between those two. This movie was made by Sir John Boorman, Boorman, Boorman. It's an amazing film. And There is another film. I forget who made it. It was a Marxist who made it. He did it based in Hopi Indian folklore. Hopi, Hopi. It's one kind of a tribe. So the Hopi Indian tribe, that particular tribe and their way of life, he tried to show abstractly through a movie called Koyanitz Kazi. Koyanitz, Koyanitz, Kazi, Kazi. It's very abstract, very, very abstract. You'll probably have to see it 3 or 4 times to get the meaning of what he's saying in it. It's just visuals, music, and chants. So it'll take, like I said, at least 3-4 viewings to understand it fully. I've been seeing The Exorcist, the original movie, Exorcist. I've seen it probably 20 times or 22 times, but I still don't understand that story. I don't understand what happens to the priest. That is a funny thing. Some things you're not meant to understand. As far as I'm concerned, The Exorcist I'm not meant to understand, so I've given up now. The other day when I was looking through the films, I saw that I was tempted to see it again. Maybe this time I'll understand. Then I told myself, no, I won't. So yeah, people do live in some parts of the world, they do live like this. But you ask me specifically with reference to India, there'll be fewer and fewer people like this. If at all there are any left, there'll be just a few of them. They would be in a couple of hundreds, not more than that. Not more than that. The others have been assimilated into the rest of the civilization process. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I think I'll stop now. I hear ding dong bells ringing. Babeshan, show yourself. Let me see your face. Babeshan, let me see your face. Stay on. Hello, what's your real name? What is your real name?
Sir, my name is Babeshan.
Hmm.
At Vikarabad district.
You?
District Vikarabad, sir.
District Vikarabad.
Yes, sir.
Hmm. Okay. So why were you drawing things on the board?
Sir,
Why were you drawing things on the board, on the whiteboard? Hmm? Let him go. Oh, Kalpana is waiting. Why are people waiting to enter my class when it is over? So, I'll see you tomorrow at 10. Take this further. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So thank you. Thank you very
Thank you, sir.
much. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. So tomorrow we'll meet.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Right. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Akshay.